that one. There's an uppercut like the one that would end the fight. So it wasn't as if he didn't get hit with big ones before.
Welcome to Zachary Carter TV.
That closed the show.
We are going to work on Tank Davis's counter uppercut.
That left hook buck on top. Oh!
And Martin's a really good one. Just like
Davis
Power punches, huge edge. 30 seconds left, and Martin instantly he'll.
What's up, guys? It's Zachary Carter from Zachary Carter TV. Today, as you can see, we outside. It's just a change of scenery. We're going to see what we're working on today, so let's go to coach.
All right. That's what we're going to work on today. I've been watching a few of his fight, and I'm very impressed with that counter uppercut. It seems to work on everyone, regardless if he's fighting a southpaw like he did Frank Martin or an orthodox fighter like Ryan Garcia. That counter uppercut works on everyone. So it's a great technique. I'm going to teach it to you. So you're going to learn it. You're going to drill it. And then we're going to work it in sparring. Finally, you'll use it in a real boxing match. So, looking forward to it.
Cool. I can't wait to learn this move.
All right, here we are. This is the first time I'm teaching Zachary this technique, the counter uppercut that Tank Davis does. Tank Davis is a black belt at this technique. Zachary is just learning, so he's a white belt. He's brand new. So I got to make it make sense to him. So one way that I coach Zach is if I could relate it to something that he already knows, it makes him learning the technique easier because he could reference the technique that he already knows and make that mental jump to relate it to the new technique. The technique that he references here is the check hook. All right, so the first thing I want you to notice is his foot. All right. So Zachary does the check hook very well. He pretty much pulls off a check hook every time he gets in the ring, be it sparring or a match. He's really great at the check hook. We use a similar motion to the check hook so he could get a feel of the technique. This counter uppercut is more of a roll and not necessarily a slip. So you roll the shoulder and come back with the uppercut. Now notice that I have Zachary throwing the counter to the belly. It's because, like I say, Zach is a white belt at this technique. So I want to make it as easy as possible for him. And I don't want him aiming for the chin yet. I want him to get the feel of how to move his body, how to work his kinetic chain, and how to put the force into the punch. So the body is a much bigger target. So that's where we're going to start. There's levels to everything. Tank Davis is a master at this counter uppercut, and Zach is just starting. So you got to make it easy for your student.
Because I don't feel power.
Now, unlike
if
the vast majority of these YouTube
make it work.
boxing coaches,
Make it work.
they pretty much show you a technique inside of an empty ring or with a willing partner. Whereas when we do this technique, when we show you a technique, we're gonna actually use the technique in sparring and or in the fight. So we're using the technique against a person who's literally trying to punch Zach in the face. So it's getting pressure tested. Here you see me, I'm in a southpaw stance. Again, this technique works regardless if your opponent is in a southpaw or an orthodox stance.
Make it work.
This is a great technique if you could get the feel for it.
So you got to get the...
Zach is checking my jab, and he's rolling my rear hand, and he's coming back with the counter left hook. I'm telling him he needs to drive through. Okay, here we got the bird's eye view. Give you a different angle. You know, again, Zach is getting the feel of this technique. He's getting a feel of this technique. All right, watch Zach's foot. Watch Zach's foot. When he twists his foot like he does, when he twists that foot, it helps his shoulder roll. Look at this foot. He didn't twist it that time. But again, if you get a feel for it, then you can kind of what I call shortcut the move. But you got to have a feel for it. Again, I just try to give Zachary a reference that he could use to help him understand the new technique. And the reference is his check hook. And if you want to see how to land a great check hook, take a look at the link here. Zach teaches you how he throws his check hook. If you notice, I switch up between orthodox and southpaw, the orthodox and southpaw stance, so he could perform the technique no matter who his opponent is. Like I said before, this technique works great no matter what stance your opponent fight out of. So it's truly a great technique. As you can see, I'm throwing a 1-2. So he's going to catch the 1 and roll the 2 and come back with the counter uppercut. You're going to see him use this in sparring. We're moving around much more now, kind of simulating more of a real match. You know, he's not going to fight a heavy bag or a static opponent. We're just not standing there and I'm just throwing a punch. I'm trying to make it a little bit more realistic. He's really getting a good feel of it. Again, Zach has been boxing for 10 years, so he's an experienced boxer. He's going to turn pro in about a year or so. We're going to develop more of a pro style. Now, does this mean that he might lose matches that he would have won otherwise? Probably, but we're thinking more in the long run or the long term. Remember, I said we was going to learn it, then drill it, then spar it, then fight it.
Slow it down.
Okay, this is the drilling portion of it. We're using a partner drill to train our eyes to see punches coming so we could deploy the counter uppercut. So one partner is going to throw a jab. He's going to throw a 2, and then he's going to throw a 3. So he's going to throw a jab, a straight rear shot, and a hook, a lead hook. And we're going to deploy a counter uppercut against each of these punches. So we're training our eyes against kind of a live opponent. Even though this is shadow boxing, technical sparring type of deal. But we're going to pressure test it now. On this channel, anytime we show a technique, we will be pressure testing that technique against a live opponent, against someone who's actually trying to punch us in the face. Like I said before, a lot of these YouTube guys, they show technique, or they show you professional boxers using the technique, whereas we're going to use the technique ourselves. Did you see how Zach caught the lead hand, rolled the rear hand, and came back with the counter? That's exactly what we worked on. That's why you learn it, you drill it, and then you pressure test it in sparring. And at the end of this video, you'll see him actually use the counter uppercut in a real boxing match. Again, he's still at a white belt level with this technique. Part 2, I'm going to show him how to use this technique and aim for the chin. Really develop this counter uppercut into a real dangerous punch. Do not hesitate to leave any questions or comments in the comment section. We answer all questions and comments. In part 2 of this video, we're going to talk about the mindset that you need to deploy this counter uppercut like Tank Davis does to knock out your opponent. You got to have a certain mindset, and we'll be talking about that. Believe me, it's very important. Zach used this counter uppercut in a recent fight. Check it out.
I'm Zachary Carter from Zachary Carter TV. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.